Hello and welcome to CoasterJunkies. This is a podcast and live streaming show that is featuring fans for theme parks throughout the United States and throughout the world. And of course, today I am joined by my co-host Matthew Forney. Matt, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Matt, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Well, just a little speed bump there, but everything's going well today. So we're gonna talk about some updates on theme parks from recently. We actually on our previous show we were talking about new things that were in store for the year, and there have been some updates since then. And currently, right now, at Busch Gardens Williamsburg is Food and Wine Festival, and that's currently going on from now until May 23rd. So of course they're having different food stands throughout the park, and from different countries, specialty kiosks ranging from different countries. I know Virginia food, Mexican, Hawaiian, French Quarter, Brazil, Jamaica, Island Freeze. I think it's kind of based on the Caribbean, Italy, South Korea, and the Mediterranean. So, and then of course they have the entire park open now, so you actually don't have to worry about some of the villages being closed. So they actually do have all villages open now, but still there's some of the rides that are not open yet. Not all of the restaurants are available. So, but honestly, they're making the best of it. Things are going very well. The social distancing and their COVID protocols, they're actually handling everything very well. So, it's just been a great experience so far. So my wife and I were able to go to the past two events they've had, St. Patrick's Day celebration and also Mardi Gras, and those both were a lot of fun. And we just really enjoy it, and we're looking forward to the next time. I'm actually supposed to be going next weekend with my brother. He's coming into town with his kids, so we're actually going to check out Food and Wine Festival next weekend. So, but we definitely have some announcements for you. So
they still haven't. Speaking of announcements, they still haven't announced Pantheon's opening day or any of Busch Gardens is new for.
Yeah, that's still kind of up. It's unfortunate. It's still kind of up in the air. Like they're just giving the vague announcement of summer 2021. And so those who are not aware, there's actually a new coaster that's coming this summer 2021. It's called Pantheon, and it's supposed to be apparently breaking some records. We shall see from that. But it's one of those coasters where it starts off going forwards and then it goes up. It's a vertical
spike,
vertical degrees. Spike, and then at full 90 degrees, and then it goes backwards through the same part of the coaster that you started, and then it goes I think it goes backwards again.
No, it just goes backwards once.
Just once, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fairly short trip, but we shall see. We'll pass judgment once we're actually able to ride the roller coaster. But until then, we'll just continue to enjoy the park as much as we can. And so the rides that are currently open for Food and Wine Festival, they have Finnegan's Flyer, Griffin, Invader, Verbolten, Apollo's Chariot, Busch Gardens Railway, the Catapult. It's like the Carousel. Der Whirlwind, that's the swings. Battering Ram, Da Vinci's Cradle, the Teacups, Trade Wind, and it looks like a few of the Sesame Street roller coasters are currently open. So,
what about the ride, the flat ride that is up by Tempesto? What's it? They're called Matterhorns. Where you sit down and you go in a circle, and you go up. I'm talking about the ride right by Tempesto, like literally right across, next to the teacups.
It's kind of more of like it goes up and down.
Yeah, and it goes in a circle. Yeah,
that's Trade Wind.
It's
open. Yeah, unfortunately, unfortunately, Matt's favorite Alpengeist is not open yet. They're probably going to open it for the next event because I know they try to cycle the rides, kind of
Yeah.
give them all, and because unfortunately they just based on the cost of running everything, and then they still have to pay their employees. And running a theme park is a very expensive venture. So, because they are only limited to a certain amount of people, I think it's up to 4,000 per day now. But still, I mean, their capacity can hold a lot more people than that, and it just unfortunately they're not able. They can't afford having all of the rides open because they have to staff those people, and of course they have to run the electricity and like all of the support systems that go along with it. So right now they can only have just a handful of rides open at a time, but they do try to cycle the rides so that way each one has its turn to run, because after it not running for a while they'll end up having some eventual issues. So everything's going very smoothly so far. Coming up in May, King's Dominion will be opening along with their water park that's built into the park, Soak City. And that will be opening May 29th, Saturday, May 29th.
That's Memorial Day weekend.
So actually, it looks like they're opening for the season for May 22nd. And then
The water
Soak
park
City,
opens.
yeah, the water
Following
park
week.
opens on May 29th.
If this was any normal non-COVID year, pandemic year, Kingston would already be open. Or they'd be opening right about now.
Yeah, Memorial Day weekend, water parks, that's going to be busy. That's going to be a lot of people there. But there's some other things that are coming up this month, actually, right here in April. On April 30th is when Disneyland in California and also California Adventure will both be opening on April 30th. And they're actually going to be opening up, I think, more of their resorts. Like one of the larger resorts in Disney World, Grand Floridian Hotel and Spa, is opening up on April 29th. And very exciting coming up this June on, let's see, let's go ahead to June 4th. There's a brand new land that's coming to California Adventure Park, Avengers Campus, for all you Marvel fans out there. So the Disneyland is going to be reopening on April 30th, and then Avengers Campus will be opening on June 4th at California Adventure. So a lot of the very cool things in store coming very soon. So, and things are really starting to ramp up. More and more parks are opening. A lot of the California parks are finally able to open. Particularly like Six Flags, right? I think they're opening.
Yeah, well, the
reopening.
Six Flags Magic Mountain is open. The Northern California Park Discovery Kingdom is opening later this month.
Mm-hmm.
But the cool thing about the Northern California Six Flags Park is it's a wildlife park too. So they've kept the park open. It's just only zoo. The zoo part is where you go.
Yeah.
So like they're able to keep it open for the zoo aspect of it. So I mean, parks are getting creative, and they were getting creative on how to get people to come to the park and make a little bit of money instead of being shut down. Parks found ways, so they're going to continue to find ways.
Yeah, originally with Disneyland, I think they had just opened up California Adventure. They had opened up Buena Vista.
Like the restaurants only, or something.
Just
the
restaurants, and then the shopping, just to kind of bring some of the cast members back and be able to actually have people come to there. But of course, they couldn't run the rides because California has quite a bit more restrictions than a lot of the rest of the country. So like more and more states are actually starting to opening up, and I know Florida is actually one of the most open of most of the stuff. Like, because of course there's some states that have completely reopened, no restrictions whatsoever. But I know Florida, they don't have any mask restrictions statewide, but they leave the state government of Florida just leaves it up to the individual cities and counties if they want to have a mask mandate. But the state itself does not have a mask mandate. But I think like especially the counties that, like I know where Disney World is actually in 2 different counties, and both of them actually still require masks in public. And then, of course, Disney has some of the most strict rules as far as wearing a mask. Like they even have some of the cast members reminding you to wear them throughout the park. So it's just I know a lot of people are kind of growing weary about that because wearing a mask in the Florida heat, I'd imagine, is not a very not a very easy thing to do, and it's just but we just try to make the best of it, and just it's just great that some of these parks are just even open. I mean, they didn't necessarily have to open, but there were a lot of cast members who were out of work and needed to return to work, and there's still a lot that are still not be able to work. But it's not just at Disney, but also any theme park employees worldwide, or there's still several that are out of work. But it's nice to finally see these theme parks reopen. You can get those people back to work, and then you can have then guests can start to come. So definitely looking forward to that. And matter of fact, this June, my wife and we're going to be going to Disney World for our anniversary. Really looking forward to that. It'll be our first time ever seeing Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Hollywood Studios. So really looking forward to that. So we're counting down the days and everything. So
how many days are you spending at? So do you have your trip all planned out? Like what days you're spending at parks and your fast passes all lined up?
Yeah, because of COVID, you actually and a lot of the parks, worldwide are the same. Because of COVID, you have to actually make a reservation for each park. I mean, of course, in addition to having your ticket, you actually have to get Disney's calling it a park pass, which is essentially just a reservation for that park for each day. And they did reinstate park hopping, but like you're not able to go to that park until after 2 p.m. So like you have to pick a park for that particular day, and then after 2 p.m., like then you can park hop to the other parks. But it makes it a little difficult because the monorail at Disney World is still not working, so that makes it a little bit more difficult to try to park hop from Magic Kingdom to Epcot because there's actually a monorail route that so it makes it a lot easier to go in there. But since the monorail is going like it between the resort, so the resort monorail route, but the one that goes from the transportation ticket center to Epcot, that line's not running currently. So in order to get there, of course, you would have to take a bus from Magic Kingdom to Epcot, and that's a long ride. So, but thankfully, there are other methods to get around Disney World. I mean, you still have of course, there's buses. They have the ferry boats. The Skyliner. We're actually really looking forward to that because the last time we went, Skyliner wasn't ready yet. So, looking forward to trying that out as a new form of transportation to it. So, very very exciting. So, and counting down the days, and we actually are going for 6 days in the park. So, we're going for 1 day for each park at first, and then the last 2 days we're gonna park hop between different parks. So
what's your most anticipated ride that you want to ride?
Well,
what's the one ride that you really want to?
Oh man, there's so many there, so many great rides there, but really looking forward to going back on Flight of Passage at it's in the Pandora section at Animal Kingdom. Really looking forward to that. That's an awesome ride. So if you ever get a chance to go to Disney World, Flight of Passage, of course, is one of the most popular rides still. And because I think Pandora opened up in like 2015, and it's still to this day, because like whenever people go into Animal Kingdom, the ride that they head to first is always Flight of Passage. So the lines are still long, but it's an excellent ride, So it's a 4D kind of ride, but it's a 4D simulator, but the ride mechanism that you're riding on, it actually moves up and down. So what it's based on is you're riding on the back of, one of the Ekrans, the Banshees, and they base it on the ride mechanism. They have it kind of, you can feel the breathing, the moving of the Banshee. So you feel like you're actually on the back of it. And then this huge screen in front of you, and then you're wearing 40 glasses. So it's really, really immersive experience. So they basically took Soarin' and went many steps ahead with that, and then they applied that same sort of technology into Pandora, but it's way more immersive. So much fun.
I'm surprised you did. Oh, no, go ahead.
What's that?
I'm surprised you didn't say Rise of the Resistance.
Oh yeah, I was going to get to that, but one that I've already been on. Really looking forward to Flight of Passage. But yes, Rise of the Resistance. If we can if we can get a boarding pass, because it's very difficult to get one, because even though Galaxy's Edge opened up back in 2019, still to this day it's still the most popular ride in Disney World. I'm not talking like one of the most. It is like the number one most popular ride in all of Disney World. So. And then, of course, it's very popular in Disneyland as well. So once Disneyland reopens, they're going to have, still most likely going to have boarding passes. So essentially, like how it works, it's really more of like a lottery. So it used to be how you had to actually be in the park, to make your reservation to try to get on the ride. But now they actually kind of made the rules a little bit lax. So you can actually try to make a reservation for it starting at 7 a.m. and you don't necessarily have to be in the park. So you could be at your resort and you just try to get on there. But like if you want to actually get on the ride, you have to be in the park. But you don't necessarily have to be in the park to book the reservation. But now I know anytime after 1 p.m., however, because they only have like 2 slots. So you only have 2 chances that day to try to get one of the reservations for the ride, is either at 7 a.m. or after 1 p.m. So, and then 1 p.m. that you actually have to be in the park for Hollywood Studios in order to make to book the reservation for that. So, and it's really set up like a lottery. So it's really it's not always necessarily first come. Well, it is pretty much first come first serve. Everybody's logging on to the My Disney Experience app, trying to get on Rise of Resistance, and you have to pretty much add everyone in your party at that. I mean, you can always update your party, but you have to like go ahead and book a reservation for it. And you essentially wait to figure out what time slot that you're going to go on, if you actually get to go on there. So, and then they'll send you a notification, like they'll actually call you and tell you that there's a time slot available, and you have to like go ahead and set it up. So, yeah,
I've seen the chaos, and I know people that have dealt with it. And I'm not
so much chaos involved with that. So we're like, if we can get the reservation for it, we're definitely looking forward to riding Rise of the Resistance, and it really is a groundbreaking ride. There's so much different types of ride technology that's built into it. It's really like a whole bunch of different ones combined. So it's not just a simulator. Like it actually, yeah. So I know it's actually using RFID chips embedded into the floor, and then it's one of those like trackless ride systems where there's no physical track, but there's actually chips embedded into the floor and also into the car. So it's actually following along that track. And then they based more of the actual car system on Ratatouille. That's part of it. And then also with Mystic Manor at Hong Kong Disneyland. So, so they based it on that. Plus, they essentially added in Star Tours and Tower of Terror. So it's you have like an elevator type experience. You have kind of like a simulator, with a screen type experience. Plus, you're also physically going through. And so there's, of course, a blend of physical sets, and then, of course, computer generated, on big, large screens. And, of course, with Disney, they use a lot of forced perspective. So everything appears much bigger than it really actually is physically on set. So, like the room, I think, where they have the AT-ATs, that is believe it or not, it's actually a mirror that's behind it. So it looks like the room actually continues on.
Yeah.
Much larger than it really does. So very revolutionary. And then of course there is also and then they based a lot of like a lot of their video graphics is like based on a video game engine as well, and especially Smuggler's Run is as well. So that's more of like you're riding on a game ride, but like the frame rate that the refresh rate is like it's very very realistic. And with Smuggler's Run, you actually everyone who's on the ride with you is able to participate in controlling the Millennium Falcon. So it'd be very very cool. And I'm thinking of maybe building a lightsaber if I can save up enough money for it. Because that's seems to be like a really cool experience. You build the hilt, you know, you pick
Yeah.
different parts, and then of course they give you like the LED part. That's the actual saber part itself, and then of course it turns on like a lightsaber. It has the sound. And
how much is that? I'm sure it's like something crazy, like 100 plus.
Like, yeah, it's $200, I think. Like if you get like all the bells and whistles, roughly, and then
Wow.
yeah, it's not a toy. It's yeah, it's a collector's item, not a toy. So yeah, so it's
I have fun getting that through security.
well, oh, you mean at the airport?
Yeah.
Actually, there've been plenty of people actually getting the lightsabers from Galaxy's Edge and then flying back home, and have actually had no problem with it because the Orlando airport has gotten used to it. So they're like, oh yeah, no problem. You can, and so there's been numerous fans have been saying that they can just take it as a carry-on the flight.
So you know how when the last Star Wars movie came out, they sold like those Coke bottles, or when Galaxy Edge first opened, they sold like the Coke bottles in the. Well, you couldn't get those Coke bottles, commemorative like Coke bottles, through security because they looked too much like a grenade. So they were telling people to throw them out.
Yeah, they still have those. So those look really cool. Coke bottles, and then they have some Sprite bottles. I think they have some Dasani water, and you know, just kind of like look like a little grenade. Let me see if I can find a picture of it. Let's see, Galaxies. Yeah, it's so I mean, of course, you know, there's always going to be people who are like hardcore Disney fans. So if there's anything that comes out that's like an exclusive to that particular land, you know, they want to have a version of it. But also, then you have Star Wars fans as well, so that's a similar thing. So if something new comes out for Star Wars that's an exclusive item, they're going to want to buy it up like crazy as well. Yeah, so let me see here. I can bring that up. Yeah, here it is. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. Yeah, so these are really cool. So they look like a little grenade. So, and then it's written in that language that's throughout the Star Wars galaxy. So it's Coke, Sprite, and then Diet Coke that they have available for it. So it's very cool. So honestly, you know, just because I probably would buy one, you know, actually drink it, and then just keep the bottle as like a collector's
Don't spend all your money in Galaxy Edge.
Well, I'm a Star Wars fan there, so I'm like, probably gonna that's gonna be difficult to resist. I shall resist. Well, really looking forward to it. I'm actually wearing my Hollywood Studios shirt. That's my favorite park at Disney World because I'm a big movie buff. So you know, because it's all themed on movies. And I actually read earlier today that originally Pandora was thought of as a possible land for Hollywood Studios. Not a possible land, an attraction. So either there was going to be like a ride or like some sort of attraction. And they were going to put it on where the backlot tour used to be.
Yeah.
And that's where they were going to put it. But then they decided that no, they don't want to just do an attraction. They want an entire land and then have a few attractions within that land. So now you have we have Pandora, and originally was going to be just one attraction, but now you have an entire land at Animal Kingdom. So I'm actually glad that they made the latter decision. So.
You know what they didn't make the latter decision on? You know, J.K. Rowling, speaking of Disney, came to Disney and offered the rights to Harry Potter to Disney, and Disney turned it down.
Wow. That's a mistake.
Yep. And now look, it ended up 45 minutes.
Yeah. Now look,
right down the road.
Yeah. Now you have Universal, who has the theme park rights to Harry Potter. So, like, even though Harry Potter was actually Warner Brothers, but Universal, they just ends up getting like the theme park rights to like a whole bunch of different franchises, and not just ones that are their own properties.
And also why they're still able to have like the Incredible Hulk coasters, because when Disney bought the rights to Marvel, Universal was allowed to keep it, but if they change the name, like if they change the name of the coaster or the ride or the land, then they cannot change it back. So they can keep the name until they decide to axe it. But until that point, Disney can't sue, or nobody can come after them because they own the rights to that name until they decide to change it.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the very unfortunate things about, especially with the, you have the MCU, and you can't even have certain characters at any of the Disney parks because of that agreement. So essentially, like what it is that Universal has the Universal Studios in Florida. Has not the one that's in California, or over in is it Tokyo? Or the Hong Kong, I think that they have a location, but no, it's just the one that's in Orlando. They have the exclusive theme park rights to Marvel, east of the Mississippi. So Disney cannot have really anything Marvel that's the Marvel properties that Universal essentially is promoting in their park. So any of the rides, and was kind of like a gray area too, like is that they actually have a mural with several of the Marvel heroes on there that because of that one thing, like say Black Panther, for example, Disney could, if they actually were able to figure out a way to do it, they could actually have an entire land based on Wakanda. But one thing that's preventing them from being able to do that is that Universal at Islands of Adventure has a mural with a whole bunch of Marvel heroes, and Black Panther is one of those heroes that's on the mural. So because, you would think like really just that one thing that Disney can't do it, but because they're promoting it in their park, they still have exclusive rights to it. So, unless if maybe they could work out an agreement, but I don't think Disney's really complaining, because even though Universal does have the theme park rights, on the East Coast of the United States, but Disney is still making money off of it. Universal has to, they have to pay them licensing fees to use the Marvel properties. So, they're making money anyway. So like, they're not complaining.
No, they're not at all.
But there is still going to be some MCU content coming to Disney World at Epcot. It's going to be the first ever Marvel ride in Disney World. It'll be Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. So that looks to be so much fun. They're still currently building it, so it's not finished yet, but it's making good progress. And then you also, of course, that's the only Marvel-based ride. It's because Guardians of the Galaxy is really more. When they started making the movies, that's when kind of Disney came into play of owning Marvel. So they from the get-go, they pretty much already owned the rights to Guardians of the Galaxy, because Guardians of the Galaxy was never part of the original theme park rights agreement for Marvel. So and they weren't ever any characters that Universal referenced to. So it's all fair game. So, but as long as they don't reference to the Avengers or like Marvel as a whole, they're fine. they don't have to worry about any theme park rights issues. So it's a big hurdle, for big Marvel fans. We absolutely look forward to seeing an Avengers campus on the East Coast, but it's not going to happen anytime soon until
Nope.
Disney and Universal can work out an agreement. So,
and I don't see that happening
think
anytime soon.
No, Universal, they're not going to give up that. That's
That's
aside from Harry Potter, that's the main other land where they're actually making the most money out of.
yeah.
So
Marvel
it's their
is
most popular land.
because if they give up the rights, people are just going to go to Disney. Like they got to hold on to that for as long as they can.
Mm-hmm. Even though some of their rides, like I know Incredible Hulk, and then of course the Doctor Doom, Drop Tower, Spider-Man's actually still doing good, surprisingly. But like
They take care of that ride. I know that for sure. They do.
They take care of it. Yeah, it's still running great. But Incredible Hulk is starting to show its age. So, but it's been a while since I've been on that one. But it's just it's even then it was actually starting to show its age. So we shall see. But really want to check out when we ever get a chance to see the Wizarding World of Harry Potter at both of the parks at Universal. Still haven't been. No.
I was there in March. I was
last
thinking March,
maybe
a year ago.
If we can figure it out, maybe we can go on like one of our days. But we don't want to cram too much into the time that we're going to go in June. I mean, we're definitely likely to go back to Florida. We're actually thinking about going later on this year, maybe going with some of our family, but we'll definitely see how things go. So we're definitely really looking forward to any time that we have in the parks, not just in Disney World, of course, but like anywhere. We've been having a lot of fun in Busch Gardens, and really enjoyed the past two events. I'm really my family's Irish, so I really enjoyed St. Patrick's Day celebration, but we also really enjoyed Mardi Gras as well because we love New Orleans. So I actually have some pictures too. Let me see if I can get the St. Patrick's Day celebration up there too. Definitely, I already got the ones from Mardi Gras. But yeah, just really enjoyed it. Mardi Gras was actually a lot of fun. They had both my wife and I, we think that the decorations were just done a lot better than St. Patrick's Day celebration. I mean, they put a lot of effort into both celebrations. It just feels like they did a little bit more for Mardi Gras. And let's see here. All right, and so I'm going to start off first with Mardi Gras here. Share my screen. All right, so as you first come into the park, they had this big giant fleur-de-lis. So they had, of course, the Mardi Gras colors, purple, yellow, and green, all throughout the park. So that's as you first coming in through the main entrance through England, and then they had like different flags throughout the park. Which is a common theme. There's the Globe Theater. That's they used to do like some 4D shows in there. I miss actually being able to go to that. I think the last one that they had was Haunted Lighthouse. It was R.L. Stein's Haunted Lighthouse, and then I forgot what they had beforehand. But it used to be like a 4D show. You watch it on a big screen, but lately I think they just like pre-COVID they had some shows in there, just like some bands and music groups playing. Let's see, and then we had so the Big Ben. So they had the same theme like throughout the parks, and not just. I mean, you would think, of course, it makes sense for France to be decorated for Mardi Gras, but the entire park had a lot of different decorations. This part was in Scotland. And of course, Clydesdales. We always pay a visit to the Clydesdales. And of course, they had Ireland participate in it. and it was kind of fun. They call Killarney Gras. So Killarney is actually the village that Ireland's based on. At Grogan's Pub had a little decoration up there, so that was very cool. And then of course they had like different themed drinks, Death by King cake. So that's shrimp, and then of course they had some different Cajun food to choose from, and we actually were able to try gumbo and then beignets, and those were really good. So these giant beads that they had throughout the park as well. That was really cool. So let me skip ahead to France here. So this essentially was like the New Orleans section for for Mardi Gras, since
is that the part? If we went to the right, it would be Alpengeist. Am I in the right?
So this is France. Alpengeist would actually be to the left, and so would Griffin. So Griffin.
Okay.
Let's see.
I'm trying to figure out
disconnected
the village.
Yeah, so Griffin actually would be over here in this area.
Okay.
So Alpengeist is really kind of like more towards this area of the park, but kind of, behind there. So
yeah.
So Alpengeist is actually
the best coaster in the park,
directions wise. Yeah, it's on the other side of New France.
Yeah.
So this is France, and then on the other side of France is New France.
Gotcha.
And then
also
they
where
had
Lescout is.
Yeah, Lescout. That's the log flume. And they had actually some stilt walkers, and then people with streamers, and it was a lot of fun. And then they had New Orleans style, like very authentic music for Mardi Gras playing all throughout the park. And they had the similar thing for St. Patrick's Day as well. They had different Irish music. There is Griffin. That's the first drop. So Alpengeist is actually over here. I did take a picture of Alpengeist. You can see it.
It's through the trees. It's to the.
Yeah, it's over here.
Yeah, if you were angled 15,
there's
there you go.
Yeah, so this is taken from the Griffin area in France, and this is Alpengeist over in. So Alpengeist is actually part of Germany in the park. And this was this jazz band. They were roaming throughout the park, and of course playing authentic New Orleans style jazz, really good. And was actually what was cool. What we noticed that all of the wind instruments, so like saxophone, trumpet, trombone, tuba, and then of course a clarinet player, they actually had what looks like a bell cover. So that way, like, when they're playing, it's almost kind of, if you think about it, like a mask for their instrument. And then the masks that they were wearing actually had like a little slit so they can play their instrument through it. And then of course the drummers, they just wore a regular mask, but the ones that were actually playing a wind instrument had like a little slit in their mask that they were still able to play their instrument. So like whenever, and I think it's like a magnetic closure on it. So when they take their instrument out, the mask automatically closes itself. So
that's cool.
But very, very talented musicians, and for they actually did something very similar for St. Patrick's Day, where they actually had roaming musicians throughout the park. And let me go ahead and bring up St. Patrick's Day. So very similar to how they had it for Mardi Gras, they also had various decorations throughout the park. And here we go. Yeah, so they had a big giant 4-leaf clover as you enter England, and kind of a similar type theme, like very similar decorations where they used flags, colored flags, and then they had different 4-leaf clovers and green throughout the park, Irish flags, of course, and different banners, St. Patrick's Day celebration banners on Big Ben. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Oh, there's my parents right there. Finnegan's Flyer, of course, was open. That's their newest ride in Opened back up in, was it 2019? I think.
Yeah, it was new for 2019.
Mm-hmm. Lots of fun. It's basically a swing type ride, and it actually goes where you're almost at a 90-degree angle. Like it goes like almost all the way up here, and then you're seeing straight down. It's such a rush.
What's really fun is, and I advise nobody to do this, is they have one at Cedar Point, and I know the coworkers that work there, and so they would leave my lap bar like one click, so you'd have like this much space between like your lap and the lap bar, and so when you go backwards, the only thing that catches you from falling to the ground is a lap bar. It's a lot of fun. It's an adrenaline rush.
Yeah, it's there's the funny thing. Yeah, there's not really much holding you in, but it's so much fun, so much fun. So like for any of you adrenaline junkies, you coaster junkies out there, you'll love Finnegan's Flyer. Definitely has that kind of roller coaster drop. I mean, obviously you're not going down a track, but definitely that kind of adrenaline rush drop going down. And yeah, so here in Ireland Village, obviously this was like the main hub of the whole celebration. And Grogan's Pub, of course. And then they had Irish food available. Unfortunately, they didn't have as many food options, as they did for Mardi Gras. So I think it was only just like 2 or 3 things on the menu. And then they have, of course, different characters. This guy was actually portraying as the mayor of Killarney for St. Patrick's Day. Battle for Era, of course, is still yet to reopen. That hasn't opened yet, but of course that would be near impossible to run during COVID, because it's a VR ride. So you actually have to ride. You have to wear VR goggles. I mean, they still have the screen there, like from where they had Corkscrew Hill there, and also Europe in the air, but. Part of the new experience now is being able to, look around, and then you're seeing the entire environment that they created. So it's virtual reality, and you have to wear goggles in order to do that. So it's really more of kind of like almost like a smartphone, and then you have like those virtual reality kind of goggles attached to it. So it's kind of all based in that, and it essentially would be it wouldn't be very sanitary during COVID, so it'd be just very, very difficult for them. And of course, they would have to go through a lot more cleaning and sanitizing in order for that to happen. So it's just, I just imagine would be just, it's not doable during COVID. So, and of course they had like a lot of different, of course, and then they had actually a lot of these. This right here actually lights up at night. This rainbow here. This was Germany. There was actually weren't very many St. Patrick's Day decorations at all through France and New France, but Germany actually had a little bit more. There's the Ireland. That's at almost sunset. I started turning on the lights. And there's the Big Ben set up and St. Patrick's Day celebration. And then there's the 4-leaf clover. And then they also had stop my sharing here. They also had Escape from Pompeii. This was really cool. They actually had it lit up as the Irish flag for St. Patrick's Day celebration. Now, of course, Escape from Pompeii at the time, it is not open, but they still had it kind of participate as part of the celebration. So let me go ahead and bring that over here. There we go. And that was that. Yeah, so this was cool to see. So even though it wasn't open, but they still kind of use it as a way to participate in the celebration. So that was, as someone of Irish heritage, that was very cool to see.
That is cool that they do that.
It's a big giant Irish flag.
Yeah.
So during Christmas time, this is actually entirely lit with lights, and it's amazing. Like this whole part of Escape from Pompeii is actually lit up in white lights, and where the water generally flows, they have it lit up in blue lights. So it looks so Escape from Pompeii looks like it's all covered in ice, and then there's water below. It's very cool. So if you ever go during Christmas Town's actually returning this year. So like last year was for 2020, they called it Christmas Celebration, but Christmas Town is returning this year. So, but it's very cool if you ever get a chance to go. So my understanding, I think the water rides are going to be opening up. They haven't set like official dates for them yet, but it's my understanding they are eventually going to come back this year, but not during the spring. So just the non-water rides would be open. Of course, they're going to start bringing more roller coasters available. So, but until then, we'll just try to make the best of it. And I know we do intend to go to King's Dominion next month because we also have season passes there as well, not just at Busch Gardens, but
You guys
also
have the
at,
Gold
King's
Pass?
Dominion. Gold Pass, yeah. So it has Gold Pass, and it's actually a much better deal than the Busch Gardens Pass. I think it's like $9 a month, and then you have both. You have both the main park of King's Dominion, and then plus Soak City, and then you get it all year long. So not just spring and summer. You get Halloween and Christmas as well. But the theming is much better in Busch Gardens. So, see,
Way better.
I kind of think way better. I mean, King's Dominion is a great park. Don't get me wrong, but the theming is much more thought out, much better designed in Busch Gardens. So I kind of think of it this way: King's Dominion, I consider that more of an amusement park. So kind of like more of like a Six Flags, if you will. But Busch Gardens is a theme park where where it's there's more cohesion in the different lands throughout the park, and then of course the rides are themed on the land that it's in. So it's and of course that's kind of like Busch Gardens just trying to be like Disney and Universal, and Disney and Universal. I mean they set the bar for it. It's like you are completely immersed in the world of that particular land or in that park. So it's like a whole nother experience altogether. But we actually got a nice little preview of that with Curse of Dark Castle. Sadly, is no longer in the park anymore. But the theming for that was great. It's excellent. But in it, I think it was just plagued with too many issues. They ended up having a lot of problems with the different videos that were playing on the 4D screens. So just it's unfortunate, and to this day, the ride building just sits there.
Yeah, do they even use it for Christmas?
They're not doing anything. They for Christmas they use it as Santa's workshop, which is kind of interesting because it's kind of based on like this ominous looking haunted castle, but like you're turning that into Santa's workshop. I'm like, okay, I guess I can understand that, but it was actually pretty clever the way they were doing the marketing for that. And this was, of course, pre-COVID. This was 2019 Christmas Town. But in their promotional materials, like not commercials, but the stuff that they were putting on social media, they had it where Santa and Mrs. Claus were looking for, they were kind of doing like a House Hunters kind of episode, and they were looking for locations that they can have as their workshop at Busch Gardens. And then they ended up finding the castle, Dark Castle. It was like the available location. So essentially, right now they're just using it as for events, private parties and stuff like that, which is an unfortunate use. I mean, why don't they just put a ride in there? That's what it's built for. But of course, it was built for Dark Castle. So but we were really sad to. So honestly, we were sad to see Corkscrew Hill go, and because that was a much better 4D experience, I personally think, than Battle for Era. And Europe in the Air was just didn't really live up to the hype, and honestly, it was really more of like a it was more of kind of like a slight, like a little bit of a rip off of Soarin', from Disneyland and Disney World. And it just wasn't very good attempt at it because like Europe in the air, you travel to different countries throughout Europe, and it still has that same kind of theme where it's hang gliding. I'm like, gee, I wonder where they got that idea from. um, based on the same sort of thing where it's a simulator ride and you're sitting in front of a large screen and then you're flying over different countries. And Soarin' off actually flying over California, but now it's flying through countries like all throughout the world. And it's just amazing the quality of the because the screen is like so totally different than like your typical projection screen. It's curved at all of the edges, so it's really more of like if you took a globe and you cut it in half and then you actually use that as the projection screen. So and then they actually move the ride mechanism closer to the screen so you feel like you're completely in that video. So even though they don't really like the ride itself, just kind of pitches just like a few degrees, but it kind of gives you the feeling of actually flying in the air. And of course, they have the wind blowing, and then they have different scents that are pumped out. And of course, they use that technology throughout the parks to kind of immerse you into the scent and everything, because they do that on Flight of Passage as well. Like when you're flying through Pandora, they have like different smells. You smell like the salt of the water and different kind of sweet smells of like some of the plants and everything. So they really go a lot into it. But Universal's of course doing that as well. And with the brand new, there's a new coaster. There's a Jurassic World coaster, Velocicoaster.
It's opening June 10th. They just announced that.
Opening June 10th. Very cool. And of course, I love the Jurassic Park and Jurassic World movies. So sadly, I actually haven't been to Universal since they switched it over to Jurassic World. I had previously went when it was all themed around Jurassic Park. But it was always very cool, like going to that main center where it looks like the Welcome Center from the first Jurassic Park movie. And of course, I was kind of starstruck at the time. And I felt like, wow, I'm at Jurassic Park. This is awesome. And of course, I was a kid at the time, but and then of course I went again in high school. So yeah, I think it's been since high school, since I've been to Universal. Been a long time.
I would give up one of my days at Disney to go to Universal, but that's just me.
Well, maybe on the next.
To be fair, I'm not as big on Disney as you are.
Yeah, maybe on the next trip that we'll try to do like both, because like if we're gonna go to Florida, like I don't think it's very likely that we would make a trip to just go to Universal. I'm like, if we're gonna be in Orlando, we're going to Disney World as well. Might as well. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been to SeaWorld Orlando, and I've never been to Tampa Busch Gardens. Really want to have the opportunity to go there. So
don't go to Tampa until they announce when their new coaster's opening. Once they announce that, then go. It's gonna be arguably the top 5 coaster in the entire world. Like that's how amazing.
They're not doing a version of Pantheon, are they?
No. It's
okay.
It's called Iron Gwazi. It's 206 feet tall.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it looks amazing. But it's been tested and everything. It's just Busch Gardens SeaWorld Parks Entertainment are refusing to announce any opening dates for any of their new attractions.
Yeah. And honestly,
I think they're waiting I think they're waiting for restrictions to be lifted a little bit so they can get more people. Because I think that's what they're waiting chain wide for is why open a brand new ride to only 4,000 people when you could wait another month and possibly get 10,000 people,
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, like, because I think originally, like, the 50th anniversary celebration for Disney World was originally going to be earlier in the year. I think it was going to be over the summer, but they actually pushed it back to October because Ratatouille ride.
At Epcot.
that's not opening until October. So that's part of this. But they say with Disney, like whenever they do any celebrations like that, it's not just like a few months. They do it for like an entire year or like a little bit. I think they usually do it for like 18 months. So it's like almost a year and a half. But during that time, if they come out with something new, that new thing is technically part of the 50th anniversary celebration. But I do know for sure. Ones I'm definitely looking forward to, of course, are Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. That's coming to Epcot, and Tron Light Cycles, which, to be fair, it's a direct copy of the one that they have at
it's a clone for Shanghai.
at Shanghai Disneyland. But I love Tron. It's such an underrated movie series. I really, really look forward to more movies coming out for that. But, honestly, maybe Disney's hoping that, hey, with the release of this new coaster, this could build up momentum. It could build up interest in Tron. And so maybe if they come out with another movie, that'll, of course, the ride itself will generate promotions for the new movie. So, because I know there have been some rumors about Tron 3, but that's kind of up to debate. So we shall see. Because I've heard that I think Jared Leto is supposed to be in it. Now he's not playing. He's not supposed to be like replacing any of the characters that were in Tron or Tron Legacy. He's going to be playing a totally different character. So I guess we'll have to see. What's sad? Disney didn't even. Tron Uprising, the animated series that they did on Disney XD, was very well done. And then Bruce Boxleitner himself was involved. He reprised the voice of his character Tron. So yeah, but definitely looking forward to Light Cycles. That's definitely it's a revolutionary style of coaster. And then of course you're really more leaning into the drops and then the different turns, because they based it on you're riding a light cycle from Tron, you're riding through the grid. So that'll be a really good immersive experience for a roller coaster. So, but I can definitely see eventually other parks worldwide try to mimic that same style of coaster, especially for the car itself. So, but yeah, a lot of excitement in store worldwide, not just for Disney, but for Universal. Velocicoaster coming out June 10th. And then, of course, at California Avengers Campus is coming in June as well. So, even though COVID's still going on, we still have social distancing and mask wearing. There's a lot of stuff still going on through the parks. And like we actually said in our previous episode, we absolutely encourage everyone to, if you have a park that's close to you, go to it. That'll give you the chance to get out of the house for a little bit, so you're not stuck in quarantine all the time. It'll give you something to do, but you're also, of course, you're helping out your local economy, and you're helping to put those theme park employees back to work. And, Matt can definitely attest to what it's like to work in a park, so he can kind of think from what it would be like from their perspective. So there's many theme park employees still out of work. So we definitely need to bring that that theme park industry back, and the more people go to the parks, the more these parks can actually justify, hey, we bring more employees in, we start opening more rides, you'll start to see more things pop up that are available in the park than before. So even though things are kind of limited now, but the more and more people go to the park, the more rides and events and restaurants that will be available. So we definitely encourage everyone to absolutely attend your local theme park if you can. Like if you're not able to, totally understand. But if you're able to, we definitely encourage you to do that. So, but thanks again, Matt. It's this is going to be a lot of fun, discussing this, and we certainly look forward to having other fans on the show. to join us. Just talk about their favorite theme park rides, and then of course we can discuss the technology. We're really hoping to see if we can get some theme park experts, maybe some of the ride designers, if we can, if we're lucky enough for that. We'll see if we can work our magic, but yeah, just we would love to have other fellow fans on the show. And, we can actually do this similar kind of discussion, like Matt and I are kind of feeding off for each other, just talking about new rides coming out, and just talk about the excitement, our experience from previous rides. But if any of you would like to join us on any future shows for Coaster Junkies, please feel free to reach out to us. We're actually available on Facebook and Instagram. We're also on Twitter as well, and YouTube. Our handle, let me bring that up real quick. Our handle on social media. Now, this is for Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. We're located at CoasterJunkies USA. Our banner is slightly different for Twitter, because unfortunately they don't allow quite as many characters, even though it's not that many. They actually have a 15 character limit, but try to actually use Coaster Junkies as the handle, but since they have a limit, so we actually had to have, so let me go ahead and put it up there. It's Coaster_Junkies on Twitter. But on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, we're located at Coaster Junkies USA. And if you would like to join us as a guest on a future episode, please feel free to shoot us a message through one of those social media sites. And we absolutely look forward to speaking with everyone, and just really look forward to 2021 becoming a much better year than 2020 was, and we're certainly just kind of making the best of it, and just go to the theme parks as much as we can. But we thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you all have a pleasant evening. Take care.